Hi, I'm Heather Staines, Senior Consultant at Delta Think. I'm one of the Charleston Conference Directors. Excited to be here today with Bar Veinstein to have a little conversation. Welcome, Bar. Glad to have you here.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Heather. Really enjoyed seeing your videos in the past. Happy to be here today.
To kick us off, maybe you can tell our audience a little bit about how you got started in your career. I know that a passion for technology played a role, but also a love for working with people.
Sure. Yeah. I started back in the military. I served 6 years in the military, really focusing on technology. Was a great experience, learned a lot. That's my passion. My undergrad is computer science. And after I left the military, I moved and spent 12 years in a software company, a large software company in the customer care space. Providing software to call centers, and as you know, customer care, customer call centers are existing in every industry. So I really had a lot of engagement with customers. Learned a lot of different industries, financial services, insurance, telcos. It was a great experience. And then I decided that it's time to change, and I found myself joining Ex Libris, which was in the education space, and was really, really excited time. This is where the industry back almost 15 years ago was kind of moving towards the cloud and SaaS, software as a service. And for me, that was an amazing opportunity. So really enjoyed engaging with the customer, community in education space. Universities it's amazing, really very different than interacting with customers in financial service or insurance and in academia. So that was great. From then I went to work in agricultural tech space, which again, a very different industry. Was the CEO for startup AI startup in an agricultural space for 2.5 years. And in the last 8 months, I'm back in Clarivate, and very excited about it. So quite a journey.
Sounds like it. So I want to dig in, to a little bit about some of those roles, that you just mentioned. Let's talk a little bit about when you got started, with Ex Libris. You said you'd learned about a lot of different spaces, but education was a relatively new one for you. I think you called it in our prep call an undiscovered country. So, what were some of the factors that came into your decision to take the leap with Ex Libris, and kind of how did your technology kind of passion see you through that one?
Yeah, it was a very interesting time, and a very interesting opportunity. This is the end of 2009, when I had the opportunity to learn about Ex Libris and get the opportunity to join the company. What really drove my interest was the fact that the company was moving to be a cloud company, a software as a service company. Back in the end of 2009, not that many companies were on that journey. And I really believe that that's going to be a transformative technology that will really change industries. And I felt that academia and education is an industry that will adopt that kind of technology earlier than others. I can tell you back in 2009, financial services were not talking about cloud. They were very conservative. And the education space was talking very much about, the benefit of moving to cloud-based solutions. And so that was very interesting for me. And I felt it's going to be the industry to drive that kind of transformative technology changes. And I was right. Indeed, in many cases that, education moved to the technology, cloud technology, and academia in general, way before other industries. So, yeah.
Great. It's hard to sort of, I feel like we've been hearing about the cloud for so long that it's hard to remember that was kind of a new conversation that long ago. And then just before we were all bowled over by the COVID pandemic, ProQuest the parent company of Ex Libris was purchased by Clarivate, and it was around that time that you decided you wanted to make a little bit of a change because you were getting interested, I guess, in artificial intelligence, and you were kind of following a pathway that might enable you to learn more about that. Can you tell us some of that?
So actually, ProQuest acquired Ex Libris a little bit earlier in 2017, but in the middle of COVID, around the end of 2020, I really started to really be interested in AI, and I felt, and I think I'm kind of right today, and that AI is going to be the next transformative technology that will really change a lot of industries. And here again, back then we did a lot of things at AI and ProQuest and Ex Libris, but I felt that I really need to get stronger experience in industry that are really adopting AI much stronger than other industries. And I looked around, and I was also at the time that I said to myself, maybe it's the right time to do a startup. I was close to 50 back then, and I was like, okay, startup, AI startup, going to be very, very interesting opportunity. And I looked at different industries, and agriculture, probably not a lot of people know, is actually an early adopters of AI because a lot of the capabilities of AI, for example, autonomous tractors, we see already a huge movement towards autonomous tractors in the agriculture space, years ahead of when autonomous vehicles are going to be available in the streets. Why? Because of course in the fields, autonomous tractors are not really problematic. It's not a lot of chances of accidents in the field. So it's really adopting AI technology faster than many other industries. So for me, that was a very interesting opportunity to learn, get myself immersed in new technologies, and that's what I did. Something that, of course, helps me today, as Gen AI and Gen AI is becoming so important in education, not just education, but definitely in the education space this year. Yeah.
Yeah, and then quite recently, Clarivate kind of wooed you back to be the president of academic and government. Tell us a little bit about how that happened. You weren't out somewhere sitting on in an autonomous tractor.
I was not, although I was spending a lot of time in the Midwest, driving between the fields. Clarivate about 9 months ago, 10 months ago, decided to kind of segment the company to 3 segments and establish the academia and government segment. It's a position that didn't exist before, and basically took over what used to be ProQuest and Ex Libris and Innovative and part of Clarivate, Web of Science, and other parts that were part of the academia solutions, and created one segment that addressed the whole market. And I was approached, and for me, academia and the community has always been a passion. From all the industries that I work with, academia and education is the best industry in my view, for me, for sure. And with the opportunity, with the experience in AI that I brought, and again, all the years that I had experience in the industry, I felt that that's a great place to come and really help and engage again with the community. And I've done this now. I came back in April 2023, and best decision I've made. I'm really enjoying it.
Oh, that's definitely good to hear. So let's talk a little bit about libraries now. You and I are of an age when libraries were not yet expanding into digital content, and then they just they were, and they took that and ran with it, as you mentioned. Tell us a little bit about how, from your standpoint, you've seen technology in libraries change. You mentioned that, for example, that Boston College really led the way with the adoption of cloud technology. How did that go about, and what were your experiences?
So I think it's pretty amazing to see how libraries are adopting technology today. And it's kind of almost bringing it back to, 40, 50 years ago, where libraries were ahead, moving to computer system. In many cases, computer systems were adopted by libraries way ahead of other industries. Moving from that old catalog to a digital catalog, online catalog was quite a change back in those days, and the same applied with other technologies such as the cloud, which is a transformative technology. And Boston College indeed was the first customer to go live with Alma, which is our cloud-based library services platform, back in July 2012. That's almost 12 years ago now, which is quite amazing. I'm almost sure that that was the first cloud system that Boston College adopted. We've seen that since in many, many cases where the libraries were the first, organization or group within the university that is adopting the cloud solutions. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be the same case with AI and Gen AI, where the library is going to drive the usage and the adoption and really the leveraging AI technologies in the universities as well. And that's why I'm so excited to be back in the industry. So I really believe, sometimes people look at libraries and say, oh, what's the value of libraries? Libraries have managed to change and show that they can realize value and really adapt, I think, better than any organization on campus. I mean, if you look at the changes libraries are happening from, the house of books in the past to then, adopted it, they moved to electronic journals, and then the digital solution and the cloud, and moving towards, the place for the students, and all the transition and how they've moved to not just focus on, the content, the reference, being the reference, but really engage with the teaching and learning or with the research parts of the universities. I really constantly see how libraries keep on, rediscovering themselves and changing their vision and their missions. And I think that's amazing. And I think they'll do the same with Gen AI, which, again, if you look at a year ago when, ChatGPT appeared, everyone said, wow, is this going to change everything in academia and the way we teach? And everyone were initially, kind of afraid and sometimes even blocked it. And now, on the contrary, they're coming to us and themselves to adopt the technologies and want to understand how Gen AI can really change the way they can deliver, the knowledge to the different constituent and user on campus. So I'm always so impressed with libraries and how they keep on changing and adapting all the time.
Yeah, and I know so many librarians who are really the kind of keepers of the information around all of the technology that the faculty and the students are using on campus. I used to work for a startup myself, and we in 2015 we were acquired by ProQuest shortly before Ex Libris came into the fold, and I had an opportunity to go to the Eluna meeting, the Ex Libris Users North America meeting, which is, as I've subsequently learned, heavily librarian led. And it really blew my mind. I had expected kind of a user group conference with a one-way exchange of information, and really was so impressed at the technological awareness of the library organizers. And you said that to me that this doesn't surprise you at all, given how it's structured. Can you tell us a little bit about Eluna and the counterpart Igloo, and how you're trying to kind of expand that to other areas of the company?
Yeah, I mean, that's those two organizations are just amazing. Those are organizations that are led and managed by the community of users for Ex Libris. Again, Luna is focused in North America. Igloo is the international one. Um, it's just amazing to me to see again and again how the users, the community engage with each other. And that's what's beautiful, in the education space. People collaboration is built in. People are it's such an important thing for them, and they spend a lot of time and efforts to work with each other, engage with each other, collaborate with each other. So when we engage, these are really very, very different than the traditional user group. Microsoft, Oracle. Those are if you go to those events, user community, those are led by the vendor. That is not the case with the Luna and Igloo. We are the guests. When we come to present, it's we are the guest in their conference, and of course we love that engagement. And majority 90% of the content is actually content that is delivered by the user themselves, not by the vendor, the product managers. And they really talk about and spend time to engage and collaborate and talk about best practices, and that is so different. And I mentioned working with financial services. Financial services compete with each other, so they all love to hear what they don't want to share, and they would love to learn what the other institution is doing. That is, of course, not the case in education, and that makes such a huge difference. And for us, not just the community engagement, we do not develop a single product without engagement with the community. Every product we've ever developed is, we have the development partners, such as, Boston College. Boston College was a development partner for Alma. And when we don't go to market, just inventing things, we go to market together with our development partner when we design the product. And that is what made us very successful in the past, talking about Ex Libris and ProcQuest. And we are now expanding that, and we would like to have that kind of engagement and user communities in other parts of our business, on the content side, on the research side. So we are definitely talking to our communities to see if we can create that kind of engagement and organization that are independent, user-led, community-led, and hopefully that'll be the case very soon.
Yeah, I would encourage any vendors who are, watching this interview who really want to find out, how to have that sort of community engagement to visit, one of those events, because that definitely was a great and pleasant surprise for me. Now we're filming this, we're recording this in January 2024, so it's been a little bit of time since the Charleston conference, but you've been quite familiar with that event for a while. Can you tell us a little bit about your experiences with it?
Yeah, I mean, I've been going to the Charleston conference for many, many years. It's always been, for us as a vendor, one of the best conferences in the industry, because it's really not a generic set. It's really focused on electronic resources and best practices and research. I mean, if you look at the type of content out there, it's really in the forefront of what's interesting today for the libraries. So that's why I really enjoyed, the panel. I was, Roger Steinfeld, hosted us. It was me, and they had Jody and Frank. I think you interviewed Frank before, from Springer and Elsevier, and to be able to be on a panel that talks about the need of scholarly publishing and the impact of research and open research and the trends out there in front of hundreds of librarians. That's humbling, to be honest, because they live it at the day-to-day, and it was really, really fascinating to see how after that session, I got a lot of folks coming over to me and kind of ask and some give me some of their advice on some of the question that was raised in the forum, and I love that as well. How customers, librarians are comfortable to walk over and just suggest some ideas and I really enjoyed it. And for me, that's what Charleston, it's a great conference. It's not too big, it's not tens of thousands of people, which sometimes, you get lose. I mean, there are other in our industry, ALA and others where it's very, very big. Here, it's feel personal, feel like you can really connect to the librarians, and again, they can engage you. You can engage. It's not small, but it's not too big. So I really enjoy it, and the content is excellent. I actually spend time not with my team on the floor. I'm actually going to the session, listening, because for me that is the best spend of my time, listening to those different sessions. So I'm a big fan, and happy to come in the future.
Yeah, I feel that you can have conversations at Charleston that you might not be able to have, any other place. I think everyone, feels comfortable and confident and asking tough questions. We talked about how libraries are, often at the forefront of technology adoption, not just on campus, but beyond campus. But trends in content use and certainly open research mean more conversation points need to be open on campus. I remember, again, back, when I was working closely with colleagues from Ex Libris, that there were conversations about, opening up these channels beyond the library. I think there was a company called M Campus that Ex Libris had acquired back in the day. This keeping the conversation going in a more broad campus-based environment is something that continues today for Clarivate. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, you're right. We purchased Campus M back, I think, 2015 or 16. And Campus M is a platform to build the app, the university app. Because when we looked, we talked to librarians, and we said, hey, let's build the app for the library. And they said, no, that's a mistake. We want to be, present and in a good, standing in the app of the university. And we were like, you're right. I mean, of course, let's not create a silo app just for the library. Let's bring the library into the campus, the university mobile app. And that's where we looked at, we acquired, one of the leader in that space, Campus M. And, we've been very successful. We have hundreds of clients today where, again, we provide the mobile app platform for them to build the app for the university. And of course, the library has a good place in that app. So that's, for us, it's continued to be a belief. We believe in about, expanding from the core. But what I would use the term expanding from the core, libraries to be successful, they need to influence and engage with the teaching and learning side. That's why we have a product called Leganto. That's a reading list application used by the teaching and learning staff, not by the library, to actually compile the course material and make sure that it's engaged with the library. We've developed product like Explorer to engage with the research office, to manage research data. We are constantly looking at how can we help the library to actually engage and interact with other stakeholders on campus. Again, whether it's the research office, it's teaching and learning, it's the marketing folks. The mobile app is led by marketing, because once you do that, once you give them the tool to show the value and extend the value of the libraries to those additional stakeholders on campus, everyone is successful. So we believe in having the best library services platform, but for us, that is not just about the core library. It has to extend to additional services, additional engagement. That's what they want to do. You go to their mission statements, you see everywhere they want to engage with the teaching and learning. They want to engage with the research and other stakeholder on campus, and we try to give them those tools. So, yeah.
Great. Final question. You seem to have a kind of an advanced sense of where things are going with the cloud, adoption of the cloud, and then moving into AI. When you think about where, as an industry, libraries and publishers and service providers will be sort of 5, 6, 7 years out, what what are you thinking about, and what are you optimistic about?
Very optimistic, and I'll say libraries are not going anywhere. I know people always think, is this, what's going to happen with libraries? I think libraries will adapt and change, and libraries are going to continue to be very influential. I mean, they are the custodian of the knowledge, the academic knowledge. They are the one that really help, and always going to be the trusted, folks that can help with the knowledge and serving the academic knowledge within the institution, and that is not going to change, and it's never going to be about the technology. The technology is always going to be an enabler to do things more efficient. Like when we look at Gen AI, we believe today we're going to be able to do three things. We're going to be able to do things better. Okay, like for example, in the search portal, discovery portal, you can do it with natural language, chat like. That's doing things better, not different, better. We're going to do also better things. Okay, we're going to have tools to do research, to do things in a way that is better because of Gen AI capabilities. And finally, Gen AI and AI technology in general helps us to do more efficient things. So those are we always look at the pillars: do better, the things that we do better, do new and better things, and improve efficiency. Those are the three things that we always look. And I think that's what going to continue to happen here. Libraries will adapt and leverage those technologies to do things better things, and to be more efficient. And that is always the case, whatever the transformative technology is. The same happened with the cloud technology. We did things better, we did better and new things, and we improved efficiency. So I believe that's going to be the case also in the next 10 years. What's the next transformative technology? I don't know now, but talk to me in a couple of years. I probably will have a good sense of it. The reason that I have I enjoy technology. It's my passion, and I'm not afraid to, again, do the leap of faith on going into academia and learn new industry, because I believe they adopt cloud or going to agriculture tech, which is so different, because I know that they are adopting AI. So I mean, that's what I do. I leap into new industries or new technologies, and I enjoy it. So.
Right. Well, you've definitely got me thinking. I think when I'm driving down the highway or looking out a window of a train and I see a tractor, I'm going to wonder, is there someone in that tractor?
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure to speak with you today, and we'll definitely come back and catch up with you in future. Thank you for taking time, out of your schedule.
Thank you for having me here. I really enjoyed the conversation and the conference.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.